Welcome to Books in the Freezer, a podcast dedicated to the deliciously disturbing world of horror fiction. I'm your host, Stephanie, and today I am joined by returning guest and author CJ Leede to talk about her latest novel, Headlights, and crime horror. So, CJ, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so stoked to be back. It's been too long. It's been like
I
a year and a
know.
half.
And we had so much fun last time talking
I
about
know.
religious trauma. So, let's hit up crime horror.
This is like, in a way, it's a lighter topic, you know? This is
Which is in a
like
way, but still, like, reading Headlights, it's so emotional and dark, and people are just going through it, like, emotionally. I mean, why don't you take this chance to tell our listeners a little bit about Headlights?
as we said, it's a very light book. People are waking up on the side of the highway in Colorado wearing the skin of someone they've allegedly never met and nothing else, and with a human hair tied around their tongues. And the very like tortured, sensitive special agent who's had a very difficult life, who was assigned to the case before, now has to come back to Colorado, face his past and everything he like really doesn't want to be dealing with, and have to really look at his own like ghosts, we could say, in order to solve it and stop all the murders.
I really enjoyed this. I was gonna say I had so much fun with it, but I don't know if, like, fun is the primary word I'm going with here, but it was so propulsive. Like, there's something so addictive about, like, a procedural, like, crime story with, like, people piecing things together and clues, but, yeah, then we have Daniel, who is just going through it.
He's going through it. This guy's, like, going through it
He
his whole
can't catch a
life.
break,
Yeah,
honestly.
I know. I feel like of all the characters I've ever written, I just, like, wanna apologize to this guy. You know, like, I feel like I'm so sorry.
I was telling you earlier, I when I read a book, sometimes I start like casting people so that I can like hear their voice say the dialogue and I can like see everything play out
I love it.
as I'm reading it. So I thought I would go through my choices for
Please.
casting with you.
We need
Okay.
to know.
Okay. Daniel, I did cast Kyle Gallner.
Mm,
I feel like
he
he
would
would
be
be
so
great.
good. He would be great.
Josie, I cast as Julia Garner. I feel like
Okay,
she's feisty. I
I
could
see
see
it.
that. Uh Tillman, I put as Miles Teller. I could just
I
see
could
the
see that. Yeah,
mustache.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I love a good mustache.
Jack, I everyone's gonna kill me for not knowing the actor's name, but I put the guy who plays Dr. Abbott on The Pit. I
Which
could
I
see.
actually haven't seen, but, yeah, yeah, probably yes.
And Hannah, I put as Micah Monroe, so
Who is Micah Monroe?
from Longlegs,
Oh,
and
yes.
It Follows.
Oh, yeah, 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 she'd be amazing.
So
Wow, I love it.
that's my casting for Headlights. Hollywood, if you are listening, we've got it here.
Wow, you're a genius. Yeah, it would be I in some ways, I think this is, like, my easiest book to adapt, but then maybe not. Maybe maybe not. So, yeah, I don't know. I keep making these books that are, like, almost able to be film and TV, and then, I put in something like sex plague, and that makes it tricky. Hypothetically, sex plague. Not this book, if you
Second book with sex plague.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
But John Denver's music and Stephen King's The Shining play big roles in the story, and I wanted to know, like, what is your relationship to both of those things and your thoughts on kind of putting in cultural references in your writing?
Yeah, being the IP nightmare for, the Macmillan lawyers to have to deal with every time. Um, yeah. Well, so I guess I'm always probably gonna do it because I think the thing that I love, so I went to grad school for writing, and, like, I always say, if anyone's a writer, you don't need grad school to be a writer. Like, you don't need any school to be a writer, nobody does. But I went to grad school, and I was in a program where we were learning a lot about like literary classics, and the coolest thing to me about those kind of books is that a lot of them, almost all of them, are really interacting pretty explicitly, some of them, with like books that came before, or like there's so much like building on top of this sort of like history of art. And so I love that. And I think like I grew up with musician parents, so like music's always been a big part of my life, and I'm always making playlists for everything. So I just feel like music in particular, but usually a book or two or three, I'm very explicitly interacting with. Actually, I've done that for all three of my books. And like that, it's like it's my love letter to those things, but also saying like this art exists in the world. So what art can I now make from this jumping off point, interacting with that art and paying homage to that art, and then like sort of turning it into something new given like my sort of um cultural and momentary context. And I just think that's like so thrilling. And like my dream would be that one day someone discovers one of my books and like is inspired to sort of make something new from it, and we kind of continue this like artistic snowball forever, hopefully.
I love this idea of this artistic snowball, and I feel like you're right, and I notice it in your work where it really gives so much to these characters, like Maeve being really into novelty Halloween music. I'm like, "I love this
Yeah.
about her."
And
I
we
love
all have our things. Like
Yeah.
we're like everybody has the things they love, and that kind of we feel that they're like sort of reflections of who we are, and they are, and we want to feel seen. Everybody does. So yeah, I like giving my characters their things.
I feel like it makes the world feel so lived in. And I mean, of course, I had to ask about The Shining. The podcast is like
Yeah.
referencing The
Yeah.
Shining, and it plays a huge part in the story.
I love The Shining. I mean, like who doesn't?
Yeah.
But I love the book, I love the movie, I love the miniseries, and I love Doctor Sleep, book and movie. And I think I've always been so interested in this idea of like Danny's shine.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, too, the hotel itself, it actually, I would argue in both the book and the movie, but not really the miniseries, a little bit. But like, I want to be in that hotel. I want to like there's something sort of oddly comforting because the idea of being in like, having a whole hotel to yourself and the sort of like glow of the lights, or, like in winter and there's this snow outside and you're with your family, like that should be a sort of very comforting um sort of environment, and it kind of is, but also forces them all to like kind of deal with their shit that they bring in, and it's a powder keg because of what the place is. And with headlights, like the whole question of the book is like, where do our loved ones go when they die, and what is like death? And I think you cannot write a Colorado horror novel and not interact with The Shining, but also The Shining's all about ghosts and about like someone being able to kind of see them, see more than other people can see with this shine. And like I'm just so sort of captivated by that idea. And so it kind of took over the book because I think I just like couldn't stop thinking like
Yeah.
maybe some of us can just see over a little bit, or maybe someone else can see in a little bit and we can still reach people that we love, maybe hopefully.
I know I feel like there's a lot of opinions about the
Yeah.
sex scene in the book.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know what it says about me. I found it very romantic. And
Thank you.
I felt like it was, yes, dealing with these feelings about death and facing your trauma and kind of like the power of human connection and
Yeah.
finding someone who can like hold you and get you through that.
Yeah, and sort of like we're all so human, and we
Yeah.
all are so flawed, and we all have pasts, and these are, I mean, I guess it's a little spoilery, but these are two people who are like really not totally willing to look at their pasts and are trying so hard to fight it
Mhm.
instead of just kind of accepting who they are. And so when they start to see each other, it's like then they can start to accept themselves a little more and stop fighting so much themselves.
Yeah.
Thank you. I thought it was very romantic, and by the way, I always have to cut, like, 100 pages from every book because 'cause I'm such an overwriter, and that was the only scene that I was given 0, like, cut edits on. Like, there were edits that were like that were like, I think the top of the boxer briefs was actually up, not down yet. Like that there was that, but there were no cuts, and I got to keep a
Oh, I
20-page
love
sex scene
that.
in my horror novel.
We need that.
Thank you so much to my wonderful editor.
I also love that there's this, like, wonderful sense of Americana to your work, like, Mayflight felt like a love letter to LA Hollywood, American Rapture, the Midwest, and this has a similar reverence for Colorado, so I wanted to know if there's another region of the country that has recently captured your heart.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm doing New York next. I'm doing my New York City book, and then I'm doing something crazy. And that's my first time doing it. I'm doing, like, a bigger road trip one that I'm not gonna talk about it too much, but it goes across, like, 8 states.
Wow.
So that one's gonna be a little different. But yeah, Maeve is such a tight, short book, and to me, like, a city kind of that's, like, perfect for a city, and I'm doing that for my New York City book too. It's just, like, whatever, like, 250 pages, like that. Just kinda get us in and out, like, it's an experience, it's a vibe. You feel like you got to, like, dip into something and leave. Whereas like American Rapture and Headlights are sort of like more sprawling and they like literally go on the road and they're long books and they're sort of like sadder books in a way. And so yeah, we've got a bop next and then I'm doing another big one. Probably my biggest one yet,
Wow.
actually, my book 5.
Ooh.
If they accept it as book 5, the one I'm working on.
That's so exciting. But yeah, I wanted to ask about your thoughts of making your decision to make this a crime story, like a
Yeah.
detective investigation story, and what do you think works about mixing that with horror?
Well, okay, I should say, like, I'm glad this worked for you, and I hope it works for other readers. This was like my attempt at a crime novel. And I never read thrillers and crime novels before because I'm just like, I have a weak stomach. So I like more like supernatural things usually because I don't know, I find them less scary than like I can't do true crime
Me
ever.
neither.
Oh my God, I
Me
don't know how
neither.
people watch it. I'm like, I wouldn't want to leave my house. And yeah, then even I'd be scared in my house, you know? It's like that's too real. So, but I started to read like every classic like noir and thriller and Scandinavian thriller and like all different types and kind of give myself like a crash course in it. And I kept trying to write it and I saw how to like do the formula and I kept doing it and it just like wasn't totally working. And again, my editor came in and she's like, "Why are you?" I was trying to make it like Tana French, like where at the
Mhm.
end it was like, "Is it supernatural? Is it not?" And she was like, "You're a horror writer. Like, what? We don't need to like fit this mold of this other, genre." And when I thought about it that way, I'm like, "Oh my God, horror has no rules.
Yeah.
0." So I was like, "Fuck it." And then it like became exactly what I think it was always meant to be. So it's kind of like this was my version of a crime thriller as much as I probably as a horror writer could ever do it.
Well, I love it, and I
Thank
think
you.
it works. I mean, I'm not a writer, but I'm like, I feel like that would be, like, challenging to, like, yeah, think about the way it's gonna be laid out and finding the clues into people's insights. I just love the way it all gets pieced together.
Thank you. That part was fun. It was more just like I felt like it wasn't I wasn't able to, like, put my stamp on it yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't in love with it, and then I made a couple changes, and I was like, "Oh, I love it." So that was awesome. That's a very good feeling after, like, 4 years of work on a freaking book.
It was 4 years.
I think in total it was 4.5 or 5 in total. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Crazy.
Well, I thought it was a very dark, emotional, but, like, overall, like, lovely and hopeful book, which I think is also not usually the case for crime novels, which I loved.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's new for me too. Like, it's
Yeah.
this is I think this is my, like, happiest book, actually. But maybe.
Well, should we talk about some
Yeah,
crime horror movies?
let's do it.
Of course, we have to talk about Seven. I feel like when you say like
Yeah.
crime and horror, I think Seven and Silence of the Lambs are probably like the first things people think of.
Yeah. I have to admit something, which is that 7, I saw, like, part of it when I was a kid, and it really scared me, and so I never saw the whole thing, and I for sure as an adult should go watch it.
It's okay. No, I can imagine being a kid and seeing like one of the dead body scenes would
Yeah.
ruin you for life.
But honestly, of all the things we're talking about, it's probably I mean, it's definitely not the scariest, so I don't
No.
know. It's
But when
fun to
you're a kid, like I remember one time we went to the movies and like my parents bought me a ticket for like a kids movie and they went to go see Hannibal.
love
And my movie finished early. So like I went into their theater
it.
and it was the scene where like Ray Liotta is eating his brain soup.
Oh my god.
And I had like no context and it was just like scarring. And that's like always what I associate Hannibal with. It's like
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Because you as a kid, you're like, you don't know these things, like, are even possibilities, and you're like, "People could eat brains? That's
you
a
can
new
eat your own brain.
horrible."
But yeah, like recently we had Longlegs too, which
Yeah,
was like
which I loved.
it was also yeah, it was very atmospheric and then also kind of like a fun supernatural like FBI. Also, yeah, when I was casting it, I'm like, am I casting Micah Monroe because I've already seen her do.
She was so good. In that moment, I will say of all I don't watch so many movies, but, like, I try to watch whatever, like, the buzzy horror movies are at the time since that's, like, our world. But Longlegs, I didn't guess, like, the moment when his door opened into their kitchen from the basement, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I feel like I usually have a pretty good read on like, I'm really good at guessing movies, and I just was, like, in shock. Did that, like, totally surprise you? I just couldn't
Yes.
believe they were in the same house. It was
Yes. I
fucking
was like, what is
crazy.
happening?
It was amazing. That was such, like, a crazy moment, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, I think I'm obsessed with this movie."
Oh yeah. I just remember being in the theater and my body being so tensed up, like in the
Yeah,
scene where uh like he's watching her like in the cabin and you see her from like the exterior of the cabin and you're like,
so good.
oh my god.
So good. I know, it threw back to, like, there was, like what was that babysitting movie back, like, in the early 2000s where it was all those shots from outside, and that
Yeah.
also terrified me as a kid. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm like, it's
Glass house
When a
or
Stranger Calls.
When a Stranger Calls, When a Stranger
Yeah,
Calls.
it was a remake. Yeah. Ugh, so scary. Yeah, we had Zodiac on here too. I also
Yep,
remember that one. I
yep.
watched like young and it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, this is a great list, actually, and True Detective season 1.
Yeah,
Which I feel like is that was, like I never watched it
me neither.
until, d have you seen it now,
I
though?
haven't. No,
What?
I know. I know. It's one of those like everyone's like you need to watch it and I'm like I watched like this last season with Jodie Foster, but I
Yeah.
haven't watched season 1.
Honestly, it is, like, the hype is so real. There's
Okay.
no I would say there's 0 things wrong with this show, and it was such an amazing experience getting to watch it, and when I was working on Headlights, Kyle, my boyfriend, was like, "You have to watch True Detective, like, we're finally at the point where it's like, you have no excuses anymore," and I watched it, and I was like, "That's exactly what I want this book to feel like."
Yeah.
And it was oh god, they're so great, and that I love the dynamic between, like, 2 partners who just, like, can't stand each other, you know? It's almost like enemies to lovers, but it's like
Yeah.
enemies to bros.
Oh, I loved that between, Danny and Tillman because, like, as a reader, you do, like, write him off as kind of an idiot until you see, like, "Oh, no, he is smart. He is making, like, his own inferences and just kind of, like, playing it off." And you're like, "Oh, okay. I love that."
He's maybe my favorite character in the whole thing, and Yeah, I kind of based him not the annoying parts, but I kind of based him a little bit off my boyfriend. So maybe Miles Teller could play him or maybe Kyle could play him in the adaptation, but this sort of thing of like there's always somebody around who has this sort of like insane optimism. And if you're like going through it, you're just like, stop it. Like I don't want that. But actually it's like the most valuable thing anybody can bring to the table. And this sort of
Yeah.
open-mindedness, you know?
Yeah, someone who's gonna recommend you a good paranormal podcast for the road trip, okay? Someone
Exactly.
needs to do that.
And actually, I guess I should plug um I have like 5 favorite podcasts. This is one of them, of course, Books in the Freezer. They're all 4 of them are horror podcasts, and then the other one is, oh my god, how am I blanking on the name? It's like the main thing that I listen to, Otherworld. So Otherworld podcast was something that I was listening to the whole time I was working on this book, but also before, and it's like people call in with their paranormal stories, and it's really the way it's edited is so cool. Like he just kind of puts like tonal music underneath, and I think he interviews people for like many, many, many hours. And then he interviews like other people in their lives or who might have been around in the moment to sort of corroborate. And it's like, it's just, I definitely
Ooh.
highly recommend. But that was kind of in my head, like what Tillman was listening to in the book was Otherworld.
Oh, I love that. I am subscribing right now because
I
that
think you'll
sounds
like it.
yeah. I am always on the hunt for, like, a good paranormal podcast, and I'm just like there was one that was running for a long time, that would do these, like, very tightly scripted, like, 30-minute episode, like, explainers, like, "This is the case, here's, like, the spooky music behind it, and,
Yeah.
like, here's what people think, like, might have happened," and I binged that, and then they stopped making episodes, like, a few years ago, and I was like, "What am I gonna do?"
I think this is going to be your new obsession. And there are like so many episodes out. It's like
Okay,
insane. You could do the deepest deep dive. I mean, it's
perfect.
like, yeah.
Well, should we talk about some books?
Some what?
Some books?
I don't read those. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I think for mine, I did kind of go supernatural, possibly
Yeah,
crime on mine, but they're all like possibly vampires. So that's if you'll notice a theme in mine.
I love that.
So
Possibly vampires is a great genre.
or some of them are more like, yes, there are vampires in
Definitely
this just
vampires.
definitely vampires, possibly vampires. So the first one is more definitely vampires, and it is The Gathering by CJ Tudor. And this is set in an Alaskan small town called Dead Heart, where two bodies had been found with their throats ripped open and drained of blood. And the residents in this town are blaming a local vampire colony that lives in a mining settlement in the mountains. And you're following a woman named Barbara who is with the FBI, and she has been sent up here to confirm whether those suspicions are correct and the vampires are to blame because there's like treaties in place for like how vampires and humans can interact, and if they like did in fact kill a human, then the US government can eradicate their entire colony. So
Whoa.
there is a lot at stake, and so this is really good if you watched True Blood and you really liked the, like, vampire as a metaphor for, like, an oppressed minority or, like,
Yeah,
colonization
yeah.
or, like, racism. I thought this was, like, really interesting, but also, like, in this snowy Alaskan town, it was also very much like this last season of True Detective,
Bad.
and you're dealing with, like, okay, so either vampires did this and like therefore this horrible thing has to happen and like innocent vampires and vampire children have to be murdered, good genocide has to be committed, or the residents of this town are setting them up and there's some like deep-seated hatred and like
Wow.
honestly what's worse.
Wow. This sounds so good. I can't believe I haven't read this.
I feel like this one really flew under the radar, like I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I read it and I was
Gathering.
like, yeah.
Wow. Okay, whoever's listening to this, tell me if you wanna do a book club buddy read of The Gathering.
So I would put it in. the fridge. I thought this was, like, a fun, like, crime novel. I love following, like, she was, like, a really hands-on, like, forensic investigator, like, really looking
Cool.
at, like, the science and, like, looking at the bodies and the hands-on stuff.
I
So
love
this
it.
was fun. That is The Gathering by CJ Tudor.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the one we've already kinda talked about, the movie. Well, we didn't really talk about it.
Yeah, no.
Uh, so I read the book, Silence of the Lambs, when I was working on, uh, Headlights, and I actually listened to the audiobook, which was awesome. And, I think Thomas Harris is a genius. And should I give the whole? I feel like everybody knows Silence of the Lambs. So there's like, there's a serial killing situation happening, and it's really horrific, and our very like young, sort of untried but extremely smart investigator Clarice Starling is on the case, but in order to figure out what's going on, because everybody's kind of baffled by what's happening and it's really dark, they have to enlist the help of Hannibal Lecter, who is a really scary cannibal, max security inmate. And he's brilliant. And the two of them together, it's very frightening. And also, something kind of happens where there's almost a sort of recognition, and Hannibal likes her and maybe still wants to eat parts of her body, but maybe doesn't. And so, uh, and kind of seems to know what's going on. So, I mean, everybody knows Silence of the Lambs. So, but it's so good.
Yeah,
It's not overrated. It's so good.
it's a classic for a reason.
It's a classic for a reason. And I would actually say, I'm going to call it Freezer. Personally, I think it's
Yeah.
really scary, and I think the movie's amazing and also really scary, and those Buffalo Bill scenes scared the shit out of me, and, I love Hannibal Lecter so much.
Oh, I do too. If I was Clarice, I would feel like, "Oh my god,
I know.
he likes me? He respects me?" You're like, "Okay.
He doesn't wanna eat my tongue.
Guess I'm just different like that." I don't know. I would develop such a, like, complex, be like,
No, I know. I know, it's thrilling, and he's so, like, dialed in on her and wants to know everything about her, and you're like, "Is it because he's gonna kill her? Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe he just
yeah.
thinks she's amazing."
Well, someone has to. She gets treated like shit as a woman in the
Yeah,
FBI.
yeah,
So,
yeah, and, like, in
I'm
her
glad she has one man's respect. He's a
yeah.
cannibal murderer,
The
but
top man seems like.
I love that. Well, my next one is a young adult novel, and it's in the possibly vampires category. It's called All These Bodies by Kendara Blake. This is set in 1958 after 16 bodies have been found drained of blood throughout the Midwest. It's just been like a spree of killings. And at the latest killing, a family has been murdered, and there's a 15-year-old girl at the crime scene, not a part of the family, just covered in blood. She's arrested, and at this point, she is the sole suspect. And this story is told from the point of view of the sheriff's son, who wants to be a journalist. And so, like, he's hanging out at the sheriff's office with his dad, and the girl kind of takes a liking to him and decides that she will only speak to him
I love it.
about what happened.
He's
So,
special too.
yeah. Nothing more than I love being a little special.
The chosen one.
Um, and the thing she describes that she says happened, or the being that she helped commit these murders and the way they were committed, seem impossible,
Mm,
or are they? And these were based, I guess, on an actual spree killing that happened in the 50s. They were not
whoa,
like supernatural or like vampiric at all. I think it was just like a spree killing with a boy and his teenage girlfriend, and the boy was like convicted and executed. And like the
whoa.
jury was always out on like whether the 14-year-old girlfriend, like what her part in it was. This was a summer scares pick. I want to say maybe a year or two ago. But I will say for readers to know, because I said possibly, it's one of those like polarizing books, depending on how you like your endings, how clear cut you like things to be. But if you
Sounds
like kind
awesome.
of like an atmospheric,
Yeah,
lyrical, like weird thing, I think this is the one for you. This is All These Bodies by Kendara Blake.
sounds so good. I love coming on here because it's like then I get to leave with my new reading list too. My second one is this is a novella, or honestly, like kind of a long short story,
Yeah.
that I don't hear people talking about enough. And I actually, once again on audio, I've listened to this audiobook a lot of times actually, because I love this story so much. And this is The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. And most of Gillian Flynn's books kind of fit this,
Yeah.
prompt way better than this one, actually. The Grown Up follows a, con artist, grifter protagonist who works in a psychic shop as a psychic, but actually they're kind of like giving hand jobs in the back. And she's also just very good at reading people. And so, which is, maybe what that job is, possibly. I don't know. And she ends up being hired by this very wealthy woman who says that her house is haunted. And she goes to the woman's house, and the woman has this son, and something is wrong with this son. Something's going on, and something's wrong with the house. And so she's not an investigator in this story. So there's not an investigative element, except that she's investigating as like a sort of, I
Yeah.
guess she is an investigator. She's just not a fed or something. But I don't really want to say more. I think this is one of the greatest sort of like, is it supernatural? Is it not? Scary, hilarious, like fucked up. Like, if you want like a really good bop of an unreliable narrator and women behaving badly and just people just kind of doing what they need to do to survive, I love this story, The Grown Up. I like highly recommend.
I've never done it on audio. How long does it end up being?
Like
Because
so
the book is
short.
so short.
It's so short, and I love the reader. Like I just think it's like if I just need to listen to something that I'm like, oh yeah, and it's like if you're a writer, like it's just so tightly plotted that it's like fun to listen to. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, right. That's how she did it. Like
Yeah.
it's really good.
It has my favorite opening line of all of Gillian Flynn's
I
opening
don't even
lines.
remember what is it.
It's like, "I didn't stop giving hand jobs because I was, like, bad at it. I stopped because I was the best," or
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that's the kind of story it is. So, like, go read it, everyone. It's so good.
And that pulls you in. You're like, "Well, I'm in this now. What's
Yeah,
happening?"
100%. And then you don't stop till it's done. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Um, my next pick is one of the entries in the 6 story series by Matt Wazalowski, which it could have been any of them. They all kind of fit this like crime investigative angle, but I'm going with Hydra. Matt Wazalowski also wrote a novella as part of that like Northern Weird project that came out. He wrote one called Don't Call Mum, which is on my nightstand right now. I'm really excited to get to it. But the 6 story series that he wrote before that was a book that was written as a podcast transcript. And like the subject of the podcast is that it's hosted by this guy who was looking at this crime and he is investigating like 6 people that are close to it. So you get these like different perspectives on what happened, but all of them have this like possibly supernatural angle. Like one of them is called Changeling, one of them is about
Ooh,
like a missing influencer and people are blaming it on like a local vampire legend. But this one is Hydra, and this is about a teen girl in the northwest of England, or a 21-year-old girl, who bludgeoned her family in something that came to be known as the McLeod Massacre. And now she's in a mental health institution, and she and several other people are being interviewed about what happened. Like the family had just gone on holiday, and it gets into like the elevator game and black eyed children and all of that stuff. But it's just so
wow.
interesting. These are really good on audio. I will say the only downside is that I think they're Audible exclusives. But if you have credits to burn, I would say these are really fun. And I think there's like 6 of them total for the 6 stories.
Sounds awesome. Oh, I love it. I hope they're all supernatural. That's exciting to me.
That is always what I hope too.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're gonna tell me it's gonna be supernatural, I would prefer it to, like, actually be.
Oh,
I
I'm
understand if it's not,
stoked.
but
Yeah, 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 of course, of course. Yeah, it's funny, like, how we approach books too, being like, "Oh, I hope this is what it is," but it's like, we can never know, and that's kind of the fun of it too. Speaking of books that, like, if you don't know what it is, it's totally batshit. My number 1 favorite book, maybe of all time, The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins, which I never shut up about in my
it's
whole
so fun.
life. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. This book, like, blew open my understanding of, like, what we are permitted to do in fiction. So I really don't want to spoil, but basically there's this subdivision in America. And like the opening scene is a woman walking down the side, also walking down the side of the highway. She's covered in blood. She's wearing like short, like maybe like spandex shorts or something, rain boots. And someone pulls over and asks her what happened. And she comes up with this little lie, but she's just thinking about eating chips and guacamole. But you get the sense that she is not like other Americans or maybe other humans. And there's something going on in her subdivision and specifically in kind of the big house at the top of the hill. Where she and her other adult siblings live, and they also are very, very weird. And their father has gone missing at the start of the book, and I probably shouldn't say any more than this. Like if anybody has not read this book, it is it was like a I've never experienced anything like it. It's like the craziest like horror fantasy suburban America haunted house, just totally insane thing I've ever read, and I can't recommend it enough. But at a certain point in the book, kind of spoilery, but not really. An investigator comes in and he is trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in this house because it's clear that there's some strange shit. So yeah, I guess I would just say it's my favorite book. So I'm about to do a reread. I haven't done one in a couple of years, so I'm excited.
I need to do a reread too. Yeah, you're right. This one was so bizarre and bonkers, like in the best way, where you're like,
Yeah,
I didn't know we could do that. That was an
yeah.
option. You could
It's
just do that.
incredible. And it came out in 2015. It was, like, the book that I found it at on a bookshelf in, Washington State in 2015, and I think the book changed my life. I think I was like, "Oh, I wanna do this." And,
Wow.
he has not had another book out. This was his only book other than, like, Linux programming, workbooks. Like, you can, like, go look. I think he's like a coder or used to be. But he hasn't put a book out, since 2015, and he has one coming this year that I've read like half of. I'm trying to stretch it out for myself because like I cried when I learned that he had a new book coming out, and then I got to read it early. Like I lost my mind.
Oh my
Um,
god. It's on my nightstand right now, so I'm like
it's
very
so good. It's brutal, and I
okay.
forgot he kind of does that. Like it's a little like there are scenes where I'm like, oh, I have to go take a break now. And it's so good. He's a genius. I think this guy literally it opens from the perspective. This is called Blacktail, the new one. It opens from the perspective of I don't know if they're lynxes or bobcats, but like literally just from wild
Okay.
cats are the
I love
protagonist
this.
at the beginning. Yeah.
Obsessed.
It's awesome.
I have like 2 more honorable mentions I
Okay.
wanted to do. Back to possibly vampires with Mother Sucker by Kim Boyan. This is going to be coming out in September, but this takes place in Seoul, where the bodies of like several men are being found, drained of blood. Their mouths are stuffed with floral foam for like
Mm.
arranging flowers and like burned to death. And you're following like the investigators that are trying to figure out what's happening, and as they look into these cases, these are all men who were tried or, like, arrested or talked to about, like, sexual assault or, like, Molka cases. This is a really good one to read with Molka, like, the
Love
idea of,
it.
like, leaving, uh, cameras watching women in
Yeah,
private
yeah, yeah.
spaces, but that essentially were tried and let go with a slap on the wrist.
Wow.
And, like, all of these bodies are showing up in this way, and you're also following a woman uh, whose daughter was killed by an ex-boyfriend in front of her, and she was knocked unconscious, and he was essentially, like, let go with a slap on the wrist, like a stay at a mental health facility for, like, a year, and just kind of, like, going back in time with, like, her arc on that, but also following the investigators, like, it was so interesting.
I love it.
It'll make you angry. You're just like
Yeah, and I need more of that. I'm not angry about anything.
But yeah, I would say that's a really good one to pair with, Monica Kim's new one, Molka, like, if you wanna feel angry about
Mocha is so good.
yeah,
Anything
that stuff.
Monica Kim is so good.
And then you mentioned earlier Tana French. I was obsessed with the Dublin Murder Squad series when those
Yeah,
books were
so
coming
good.
out. They were so good. I think my favorite one was Broken Harbor, which took place in this like suburban house. And I think it came out more during like the recession when it was like the really ghostly imagery of like this empty suburban street where like all these new builds have been built, but like, people could not afford to be in them and could not afford to buy any houses, so it was, like,
Yeah.
this family living there alone that, like, possibly went crazy and, like, committed murder. It was just, like, one of my favorites. It was one of those very, like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it.
I also loved that in her books, if you read them in order, you're following one detective and, you get a little view of kind of, like, the squad, and then the next book follows someone who was a minor character in the previous book, and it, like, keeps going that way. So you're like
You know who else does that? Is romance authors.
yeah.
That's, like,
Or
such a
like very
classic.
Bridgerton, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very classic, like, romance trilogy kinda thing to introduce the side characters, and then they each get their own books, and it's so smart because you then get to keep following the story in the
Yeah.
background of your first book protagonists, which is, like, such ultimate wish fulfillment, I think.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
it's
You're
amazing.
absolutely right, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even think of that.
I think I wonder if probably somebody did it before her, but in my mind, like, the first time I ever saw that growing up was, like, Nora Roberts always did it. She had these trilogies, and it was awesome. And I
Oh,
remember
awesome.
thinking, like, how dope that we get to see them because you never get to see the happy ever after.
Yeah.
And in this case,
I
they're sort of happy ever after.
yeah. I growing up, I read a lot of, like, Sarah Dessen, like,
Yeah,
YA romance, and it was, like, less explicit, but if you, like, knew what to look for, there would be, like, passing comments of, like, a character noted, like, wearing a certain thing, and you're like, "Okay, that's that character from
I
that
love
book," or
it.
like, "Oh, the redhead, oh my gosh, that's so and so from this book." Like, they all take place in the same universe.
So fun.
Yeah, I love a little Easter egg.
I
We
gotta
love an
start,
Easter
like,
egg.
connecting my books in fun ways. Give the reader something fun to look for.
It always is fun.
I have a couple honorable mentions. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, I think everybody's read it recently, but it's so freaking everything S.A. Cosby puts out is, like, the best thing I've read. But All the Sinners Bleed is just so good. And, there's, like, a school shooting. It's a small town, first, Black sheriff in the small town in the South, and it's kind of like a very sort of, like, Southern, um investigative thriller or noir. And there's a school shooting, which then starts to point kind of toward like a serial killing thing, and has a lot to do with like the town's, like very racist history and unfortunately like present too. And it's just so good. He's a genius. Highly recommend. Also doesn't really fit. Well, there is a crime, but it's more of a revenge story. But Razorblade Tears is like one of my
Oh,
favorite books of all
I
time.
love that one,
Also,
yeah.
yeah, it's so good. And then also I should say The Outsider because that was Stephen King's. Like
Oh, yeah.
supernatural, other supernatural, or really, God, maybe like his big supernatural investigative. And
Mhm.
now we have all the other Holly and the new ones, but, I never read Mr. Mercedes, actually. Somebody told me that's, like, the really good crime one too.
I
I've heard
thought
it's pretty
about,
good.
like, reading them for this, but I just, like, didn't have time.
Yeah. Well, and The Outsider is very dark. Like, I
Yeah,
had trouble, not because it's obviously, like, perfectly written, it's just it was so brutal that I was like, "I don't know if I can totally handle this one.
yeah,
We got limits."
yeah. Also, doppelganger horror is, like,
So good. So
creepy.
good.
It's so good, but it's, like, it
Yeah.
gets under my skin.
Yeah, The Outsider, well, yeah, if you can handle it's just that it was a kid was the worst, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a great book. Supernatural,
Oh,
investigative thriller. Crime.
love it. Well, I like to ask our guests for a chilling obsession. So, what's something you've been enjoying lately? Can be in horror, can be not.
Well, I'm late to every party, and sometimes I avoid things because I am, like, for the astrological girlies here, like, a lot most of my chart is Aquarius, and I don't like being told what to watch or read or do. And everyone was talking about Wuthering Heights, and it's one of my favorite books. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like the movie. And even though I love Emerald Fennel, and I had recently watched this movie, Emily, which is amazing. I so highly recommend. That's about Emily Bronte writing Wuthering Heights, and it's with
Oh,
Emma Mackey, and it kind of gets into, like, this sort of, like, strange, is it supernatural? Is there some ghosty thing happening or not? And, it's the most inspiring movie I think I've ever seen if you're, like, a writer and wanting to feel like maybe these books that we write and these experiences that we have, like, matter. So, anyway, I'm obsessed with Emily. It came out not that long ago, and I was like, "I'm not gonna like Wuthering Heights," but I finally watched it, and oh my god, I loved it. I loved it so much. My friend convinced me. She is a professor at Brown, and she was like, everybody I know with an English PhD loves this movie, and everybody who's like never read a book is like, no, it doesn't like fit the source material. And so she convinced me, and I was obsessed with it, and I haven't stopped thinking about it, and I haven't stopped um listening to the soundtrack, and I don't think it's overhyped. And if anyone wants to talk to me about it, I will really go to bat for this one. Because I think it's the best exploration I've seen recently of actually what it means to come into, like, I think it's mostly a study in violence, and how two people who are born into such a violent environment can only sort of do so much to know how to, like, love or how to not be violent themselves. And this sort of effect of violence generationally and systemically as, like, a town, and our isolation with it. I think that's what was so effective. And I think it was, like, very not surface level. So there you go. Wuthering Heights.
ooh, I love that. I still haven't seen it, but
Oh my
I
God.
have been
Watch
meaning to
it.
check it out.
Watch
Okay.
it. And if
Yeah.
anybody's into any of, like, the shit I put in Maeve, like, there's a moment, I'm gonna spoil a little. There's a moment when Jacob Elordi sticks his fingers into raw egg, and, like, we even get the squish. Like, the whole thing is so sexual and so violent the entire time. It's like it's a crazy movie. I loved it. I thought it was perfect. It's perfect.
I love that. I just finished the last season of Hacks, and I am, like, so sad that it is
No,
over, like,
that's a terrible
forever.
feeling.
I know, but it's one of those things where, like, everything wrapped up so well, and you're, like, happy with where everyone ends up, but
Good.
you're like, no more
That's hard,
Hacks."
though. Like,
I
that's
know.
like you lived a life with those characters, right?
Yeah. I can just hope that they all it's just fun to see, like, everyone else doing, like, new projects and stuff and, like, you jumping off from here. Like, Hannah
Yeah,
Einbinder is gonna be in Jane Schoenbrand's new movie with Gillian Anderson, and I'm like,
cool.
"Okay, okay, we're
Yeah,
doing stuff."
yeah, and, if you give it a year or so, you'll probably do a rewatch if
Yeah.
you feel up to it, it's always there.
Well, the second question I like to ask guests is for a final girl song.
I'm gonna say this time, uh, so the song TV on the radio is "Wolf Like Me," but there's a cover by Lara Lynn and Shovels and Rope. And actually, Lara Lynn does the music for one of the True Detective seasons, so that's
Mm.
also kind of cool. And I think this cover of Wolf Like Me is like the best. Like it's very sexy, it's very um spooky and strange, and I think it's perfect for the
Ooh,
Wolf Girls.
which if you read headlights, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. And I may have a list. This isn't public knowledge yet, but there may be a list of wolf book recs coming from me somewhere. So if you're
Ooh.
into such things,
I I will be on the lookout for that. I'm very excited.
it was fun. And this was really fun. Like getting to sort of come up with lists that fit like different aspects of what you're working on. It
Mhm.
makes you realize too, like how much we're sort of like melding so many things with these books. It's so fun.
Yeah. And you, like, really spent some time, like, with wolves at, like, conservancies and stuff, right?
No, and now I'm in the Northeast, and everybody was telling me there's like an amazing one in New York State, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to maybe my third one. I went in Colorado and California. They're amazing animals. We have a
Yeah.
lot to learn from
Yeah.
wolves. Thank you. This is so fun. I love being on here with you. And I'm gonna see you. I don't know when this is airing, but like I get to see you in like 2 or 3
I
days in
know.
person.
Because yeah, Book Fest just happened. Just to date this so everyone knows when this was recorded.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to stay in between and go, like, explore all the fun Pittsburgh stuff, but,
Oh, but you're not.
my boyfriend went and he's got a book launch today, so I came back to New York for his book launch, which is
Oh,
awesome,
okay.
and then we'll go to Pittsburgh on Wednesday, so,
Perfect.
yeah, it'll be great, but I was sad to leave. It was really cool.
Well, you'll be back in a few
Yeah,
days.
ride the dinosaur carousel, which is my number 1
Absolutely.
priority. Highly recommend that too. Yeah, Pittsburgh rocks. Maybe I need a Pennsylvania book.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. And well, thank you so much for coming on here today.
Thank you. You're the best. This is always such a joy to get to be on Books in the Freezer, and I love listening to your other episodes. It's like
Oh.
so exciting always seeing who's talking about what. And it's crazy, you don't like run out of topics.
It is crazy to
Yeah.
think, it's so much that I, like, look back, I'm like, "Actually, I should probably redo that one because so many books have come out
Yeah.
since I recorded that, like, 6 years ago." Like, we need to, like, go back and redo that.
Yeah, you're in this for life now. You never get to escape this
No.
room you built yourself.
Books in the Freezer is a bi-weekly podcast posting episodes every other Tuesday. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook, and TikTok at Books in the Freezer. If you would like to support the podcast, please consider becoming a member of our Patreon community at patreon.com/booksinthefreezer, or helping spread the word about the show on social media, or leaving a review on a site like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I have been your host, Stephanie Gagne. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time on Books in the Freezer.